right. Well, let's see. It's just a little bit after 2. Let's go ahead and get started. So happy June, everybody. Are you excited?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Excited? Let your face show it. All right. Good to see you. Good to see you. So I tell you what, I was just telling Sydney, the first of every month, my team gets together, we set goals for the month. We reflect on what we did last month, what we learned, where we can improve, and then we set new goals for this month. And it's just an exciting time. We make a big deal out of it. And one of the things that we talked about today is what I want to talk with you guys about. What's interesting, and Dean, since you're right here in front of me on my screen, I'm going to use you as an example for a second. So unmute yourself for just a moment and be my helper. So you've been in real estate now for how many years?
13 years.
13 years. What did you do prior to real estate?
I'm a stockbroker.
Stockbroker. Okay. So when you were working as a stockbroker, my understanding of a stockbroker is they work crazy long hours, right?
Yep.
Was that pretty accurate?
Yeah, we worked 14 hours a day, usually. Well, 12 to 14 hours. We had maybe about an hour and a half tops of like break time. And you were pretty much on your feet all day. Yeah, sure.
So give me a ballpark idea. How much were you earning per year as a stockbroker?
Well, when I was doing it, why I'm not doing it anymore is because it was 2008 and 9.
Yeah.
So I had just gone out of school, but this was I earning? I was on pace to earn the first year about 150 or something like that. At that time it was a lot, but then I wasn't in it for long enough, but it was on pace to do about 150.
About 150,000. So 14 hours a day to earn 150,000 a year.
Yeah, no one knew me, had no brand. I was in a small company, boiler room kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
So here's the first point I want to make, because all of us should be looking forward to the month of June, setting some new goals, hopefully trying to take ourselves up to that next level. Okay. I've spent some time in the past talking with you guys. Matter of fact, Dean, you were at my talk up there in Pennsylvania when we talked about building momentum. Remember that talk on building?
That was great.
Yeah.
I mean, we loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're going to expand a little bit on that today, because part of getting to that next level, is getting ourselves into momentum. Now, one of the, I've had a couple people on my team and a couple of people I'm coaching comment to me and said, Gordon, man, I feel like I'm just working all the time. Even my son, Sydney, you can appreciate this. She said he's coaching him. He just said, Dad, I'm burned out. And I said, son, listen, you're in the process of building momentum right now. You're in the concentration phase. And I've told you, as I've told everybody, you're going to be out of balance. That's what it looks like. When you're trying to take yourself to the next level, it's not like it happens instantaneously. No, you've got to put your head down and you've got to accept the fact that you're going to be out of balance for a certain period of time. And so what you've got to do is you got to focus on the reward. You got to focus on, why am I doing this? Because when that little voice in the back of your head comes to you and says, why in the world are we working so hard? Why in the world are we doing this? If you don't have a good answer for that little voice, guess what happens? You stop doing it. Okay. So he's making some great progress, some great headway. And, but some of you may be going through this same feeling right now, because it's normal about this time of year too, when you're really starting to crank things up as we're getting into the spring, summer markets, to start to feel like, man, I'm just working all the time. But you've got to get yourself focused on the goal. The other thing that I want you guys to be thinking about, and this is why I asked Dean the question that I did. All of us throughout our entire life have been conditioned to associate a certain income level with a certain effort level. Let me explain what I mean. So again, I use Dean as an example. Stockbroker, hopefully going to make $150,000 his first year, working 14 hours a day. Okay, that's a lot of freaking hours. And back then 150,000 was a decent income, but not for that amount of hours. Okay. And so, I grew up in a military family. My dad was Army, and I don't know what his salary was. I think by the time he retired in 1984, he was making somewhere in the $40,000, maybe $45,000 a year range. So anyway, and I saw how hard my dad worked, and I saw the income that was generated. So my point is, all of us, whether we realize it or not, we associate a certain income with a certain effort. Now let that sink in for a second. A certain income with a certain effort. Now, Kelly, if I was to say to you, okay, listen, I want you to tell me how many sales are you doing in an average month right now, Kelly? Average month.
It's really challenging here, Gordon. 2.
2, okay. All right. So what if I said, Kelly, we're going to take you up to 5 a month. We're going to take you up from 2 to 5. Now, you're going to have one of 2 thought directions. Okay.
I have one right now.
All right. So tell me what it is. What is it?
I'm already working hard. I feel like I go door knocking every, time I can, with the weather being decent.
Right.
I'm on the phones prospecting, so I feel like I'm trying to do all I can to get some business.
And here's the bottom line. I don't doubt that for a second. I don't doubt that you're working hard. I don't doubt you're doing all that you can think to do right now. But is it possible that there may be a better way?
Absolutely.
Okay. But see, here's the thing that you just said. You couldn't have made my point any better, because you're thinking, okay, Gordon, I'm working my butt off right now to get 2 sales a month. And now you're talking about 5. Oh my God, I can't work that hard. I can't put in that many hours, because you're associating 5 has got to be twice as hard to do as 2. No, it's not. My good friend and fellow coach, Sydney, attests to the fact, if you take somebody, let's say, who's doing 100 or more transactions, they're not working as hard as the person who's doing 25 or 30. They're not. Why not? Because they're more efficient. Okay. If you look at, if I could, I want you to picture a mental pyramid in your head with a point at the top, wide base point at the top. Okay. And that wide base represents everything that has to be done in the real estate business. And that point at the very top represents the highest and best use of your time. If you could only do one thing, what would that one thing be? And so as you go up that pyramid, as you go up, 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 you're going to notice that the number of tasks that you're involved in start to get fewer and fewer and fewer, but their income value, their income potential starts to get higher and higher. And so as you work your way up the production scale, you're actually doing less, not more. But what you're doing is more valuable. Okay, so Kelly, what you've got right now is you have simply associated 2 sales a month equals this amount of effort. Now, what we've got to do, and what I want to talk to you guys about today, is we've got to start to identify a few changes that we can make in our business that can help us to become more efficient, more effective. Because Kelly, you said it so well. I'm doing everything I can do. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I don't doubt that a bit. I don't doubt it a bit. However, do you know people that are no smarter and no better than you that are doing more business than you? Say yes.
Yes.
Of course you do. Okay. So how is that happening? They've kind of figured out a little bit of a different way of going about it. So let's just look at a few things here. I've made a list of 10 things I want to cover with you guys today. And I don't expect you to go out and implement all 10, but maybe you could identify 2 or 3. That'll make a difference in your business and help you to get there a little bit easier. But the first thing, Kelly, and the rest of you, the first thing you've got to accept is you've got to get rid of the negative connotation that doing more equals, my life is even crazier, because it's not. But if you think that way, then what's going to happen is your mind is going to cause that to be true. Because to you, it is true. It is your reality. It's true. And as long as you believe that, your mind is going to create that kind of chaos. So the first thing I want you guys to jot down is, these are just some possible adjustments we can make for the month of June and going forward. The first thing I want you to jot down is maybe, and I know this is not the first time you've heard it, but maybe you could tighten up your morning schedule just a little bit. maybe you need to go back to, okay, what time am I getting out of bed in the morning? And what's my routine from the time I get out of bed up until noon? And is there a way that I could tighten it up, make it a little bit more efficient, more effective? Could that be something that I could adjust that would make a difference in my results? Okay. Number two, and many of you have heard me talk about the 4-step morning checklist. But for those of you that haven't, let me just cover it really quickly. This should be something you do first thing in the morning. And the purpose of this is to get your mind and your thoughts under control, because as long as you feel like the level of production that you're at right now is creating that feeling of being out of control. I mean, is there anybody on this call right now that says, you know, Gordon, I am the most happy when I am completely out of control? Of course not. Nobody does. No, if you do, there's a problem, okay? And it's bigger than I can solve. All right. So the first thing we've got to do is we got to say, okay, let's review our active listings. That's number one. Our pending sales is number two. Our hot leads is number three. And our appointments is number four. We're doing a quick overview of those four things. Again, active listings. How many active listings do you have? Scan them real quick. Not a detailed in-depth analysis, a scan. What needs to be done with my listings today? Number two, my pending sales. Is there anything that needs to be done with my pending sales? Write it down. Anything you identify, write it down. You're not taking action at this moment. You're writing it down. Number three, hot leads. What hot leads do I have? Who needs to be reached today? Identify them. Make sure they're right in front of you. You know who you need to get a hold of today. And then finally, number four, appointments. What appointments do you have scheduled today? And what do you need to do to make sure that you are fully prepared for those appointments? Do you need to, if it's a buyer appointment, do you need to get the showing appointment scheduled? Maybe it's a listing appointment. You need to get the CMA done. Do you need to get the confirmation email out? What needs to happen? Write it down. After you finish writing all these things down, then you simply look at your list and see, is there anyone that I can delegate these items to? And delegate the things that you can. The remaining items on your list are the things that you need to do. Put them in your schedule and determine when you're going to get them done. So that later in the day, when that voice is going off in the back of your head, it's not telling you, hey, we don't have time for anything else. We're already overwhelmed. No. I'm under control. I've reviewed my active listings, pending sales, leads, and appointment. I'm on top of it. That one idea right there, just freeing your mind up to allow you to do more business. So I'll tell you something, guys. I firmly believe that we can do the amount of business that we will give ourselves permission to do. Let that sink in for just a second, please. We can do the amount of business that we will give ourselves permission to do. But as we just said a moment ago, there's nobody on this call that is wanting to move further in the direction of being out of control. So it may simply be the fact that you've got to come up with systems and techniques to get your head back under control so it can handle more. Okay, so it can handle more. One of the techniques I use is having 7 children. Now that takes a little bit of time for you guys to accomplish, but when you have 7 kids, you got to figure things out. You got to learn to handle more. Let me just tell you, I can loan you a few and you have the Fast Start program if you want. All right, let's go to the next point. So that's the 4-step morning checklist. All right, number three. Okay, and this may be a basic thought, but I'll tell you, this is an area that you experienced agents get complacent, and that is previewing property. If I was to give you a test, how well do you really know your marketplace? How well do you really know it? Most of us have certain segments of our market that we know really well, but there are other segments of our market that we really don't know that well. Okay. And so of course we gravitate towards the areas we know, we avoid the areas that we don't know as well. Well, listen, by opening up your knowledge of the market, it therefore opens up that segment of the market, which then allows you to expand to be able to do more business. Some of us have just gotten complacent and accepted the fact this is my little area and that out there is not my interest. So get back to previewing and expand your knowledge and understanding of the market. Knowledge equals confidence, guys. Knowledge equals confidence. All right, point number 4, lead follow-up. Kelly, without even knowing you that well,
Mhm.
I'm gonna bet that this is an area of weakness. Because listen, 80% of our appointments will come generally from lead follow-up. 80%. So if you're only doing 2 deals right now, then you're probably not, and especially the way that you say you're prospecting, you're probably not as on top of your leads as you should be. So let me ask you guys a question. I'm gonna reach in my pocket right now. I'm gonna use this as an example. All right, here's. All right, anybody recognize what that stuff is right there? Here with the camera. Anybody recognize that stuff right there? Now guess where it was? It was in my wallet. It was in my wallet. Why was it in my wallet? Why was it not scattered across my desk and my nightstand and my bathroom countertop and my dining room table? Why was it not scattered there? Can anybody tell me? Because if I need to have access to it, I need to know where to find it. Yes or no? Because that's money, that's got value. Your leads have value. If I said to you, can you lay your hands on your hot leads right now, immediately? Can you do it? Do you know what? Well, there's some over here and there's some over there, and I do this for this kind and I do that for that kind. Then the answer is no. How efficient are you with your leads? Do you know who the hot ones are? Do you know how to determine which leads to keep and which ones not to? Hey, the higher the producer, the fewer leads they're working. But the better quality leads they're working. When you're keeping a bunch of leads out of scarcity versus abundance, you guys know what I mean when I say that? I'm keeping leads out of scarcity. I may not get another one, so I better keep this one, even though I know it's not that great. It may be something, and I may not get another one. Low producers keep leads out of scarcity. High producers keep leads out of abundance. There are plenty of leads out there, and I want to make sure the ones I've got are the ones who are going to do something. Your sense of excitement to call your leads is so much better when you know you have good ones. Not to mention that those good leads, when you're keeping leads out of scarcity, those good leads get buried. They get lost with all the bad leads. So you need to confront yourself with this question right now. Can I lay my hands immediately on my great leads? And if the answer is no, we have a problem. Let's solve it immediately. Okay, next point. One of the most important skills of a great salesperson is knowing what to say in every situation. Real estate, guys, real estate is simply a reoccurring conversation. After 2, maybe 3 years in the business tops, you have heard all of the questions, you've encountered all of the problems, you've got all of the objections. And so you have got to learn, you have got to master what to say in each situation, and not just the dialogue, but you've also got to master the tonality. How do you say, and what do you say and how do you say it in each situation? To take your business to that next level, you've got to learn to get better there. And again, you know where the biggest challenge lies in this area is not for the newbies. Because the newbies, they know that they don't know. It's those veterans that have been doing this for a long time. That's beneath me. I'm ahead of that. Well, I bet you're not. I bet you can still learn if you keep an open mind. Okay, continue to master what to say in each situation. And I added to that point number 6. Let me put my leads back in my pocket here now. Right. And so role play. Get back to role playing. I think that the whole concept of role playing is misunderstood. Okay, and let me explain what I mean. Role playing is more than just practicing what to say. Hear me on this. Role playing is more than just practicing what to say. Role playing, you know, I happen to have been a basketball player. For those of you that have seen me, you don't have to wonder why. I'm 6'6". All right. I played basketball. And one of the things that we did prior to a basketball game is we'd come out and we'd warm up. We'd do our layup drills and we do this drill and that drill to get ourselves warmed up. Well, that's what your role play is. It's like to shoot around before the game. Before you actually get on the phones, you're going to practice with a partner and get your thoughts flowing and get your words flowing and get your energy level up. Okay, so it's going to help you to get in the right mindset. It also, role play also is a great method of accountability. So if Dean Clark was my role play partner, and we're going to role play every day from 7:30 to 8 o'clock, and then at 8 o'clock, I'm going to start my prospecting. Well, number one, I've got to be on time for my role play partner because he's there waiting on me. So I'm going to get on the phone with Dean and we're going to role play together for 30 minutes. And at the end of those 30 minutes, one of the rules at the end of a role play, one of the rules is you have to make the first call. Well, Gordon, what if I got to go to the bathroom? Hold it until you've made the first call. Okay. You've got to make the first call. So again, it's the warm up and it's the accountability, not to mention, of course, the natural byproduct is you learn better what to say and how to say it. So understand the full purpose of effective, and I emphasize the word effective role play, because effective role play is not social time. All right, next. Number 7, what can you do to take your business to the next level in June? Number 7, commit to being a more effective pre-qualifier. Commit to be more effective with pre-qualifying. Again, I want to come back to 2 words I used a moment ago, and that was scarcity versus abundance. Are you pre-qualifying from a mindset of scarcity? Or are you pre-qualifying from a mindset of abundance? So if I could, let's just see here. Who wants to play? Who's actively selling right now and is willing to play a little game with me for a second?
Let's go, Gordon.
All right. Who said that? All right, Dean. All right, Dean. Okay, so Dean, you're going to sell how many homes this year?
About 75.
About 75, and your average commission is?
13,000.
13,000. Okay. All right, so that's 975,000. Great job, Dean. All right, now you're going to work approximately how many days this year?
I will work 219, 220, somewhere in there, I believe.
220, and you're going to average how many hours per day?
Minimum 8.
8. Okay, so you're going to put in 1,706. All right, so we're going to take 1,760. Bear with me just.
Oh, $1 per hour. Oh, damn.
What? Yep.
No, go ahead.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dean, you are generating $554 per hour worked. Okay. $554 per hour worked. All of you guys can do that same math for yourself. Now, here's the thing you've got to look at. You're now making a decision, Dean. Okay, I've got a buyer appointment I can go on. I have a listing appointment I can go on. All right, so let's look at both of those. A buyer appointment. By the time that you schedule the appointment, drive to the showing, show however many houses you're going to show, come back. Let's just be very conservative and let's say you can do it in 2 hours. And that's probably on the short side. But let's just say 2. So if I take 554 times 2, that's $1,108. So you've got to ask yourself the question when you're pre-qualifying them, would I pay $1,100 to be able to go on this appointment? Because you are. Would I pay $1,100 to go on this appointment? Or how about a listing appointment, guys? We all know that by the time you do all the preparation for the listing, drive out there, make the presentation, drive back, you're probably at least 3 hours. So now we're looking at probably $1,600. Would I pay $1,600 to go on this listing appointment? Who thinks they might ask a few more questions, maybe hold the appointment to a little bit higher standard if you had to pay for the opportunity to go on that appointment? You guys need to think that way. Business people think that way. There's a term called opportunity cost in business. Opportunity cost means, what do you give up to do something else? If you're going on that buyer showing appointment, if you're going on that listing appointment, that means you're not doing something else. Is there something else you could be doing to make better use of that valuable time of yours? So taking your business to the next level could be taking your pre-qualifying to the next level and starting to value your time more and stop looking at your business from a perspective of scarcity and start to look at it from a perspective of abundance. And the difference, guys, is your mindset. It's not the market. Quit that thought. Quit it. It's not the market. It is your mindset. Do you have a mindset of scarcity, or do you have a mindset of abundance? Number 8, there are 3 presentation skills that you have to master if you want to take your business to the next level. 3. Number 1, the listing presentation. No matter how good you are, you can get better. You can get better. Number 2, the buyer presentation. Steve and I use, and Sydney, we use what's called the funnel approach. If you'll go on to Watson Powers under your member login, download the funnel approach. Excuse me. Just simply a system for helping buyers get to the right house quickly. Okay, master that presentation. And the third presentation is the strategy for getting offers accepted in a multiple offer situation. Okay, we have got to be more effective at explaining to our clients the rules of the game and the strategy that we have for winning. You know, most of our clients think if they make a full price offer, wow, how can anybody not take my offer? It's full price. Well, full list price is just the starting point for most of our marketplaces, and it goes up from there. So if you don't counsel your buyer in advance and coach them on how they need to present their offer, how they need to structure their offer to win, if you don't coach them, you're going to spend a whole lot of time wasted writing offers that never get accepted. So it is a presentation that you have to practice and master to persuade your buyers what they need to do to win. Point number 9. Most of us, so Kelly, I want to come back to you again for a second. Thank you for being so nice. So I'm going to make another assumption, okay? I'm going to make another assumption. So you're doing 2 to 3 transactions a month, and I'm going to make the assumption that the way that you schedule and organize yourself, in other words, your systems are built around 2 to 3 deals a month. I'm going to make that assumption. They're built around doing 2 to 3 deals a month. And so if all of a sudden you jump to 5 or 6 deals a month, and I hope I'm wrong, but there's a strong possibility that the systems you have for organizing and structuring yourself might get stretched a little bit. We might find that there's a bottleneck there that we weren't expecting, because your habits your day-to-day routine, you follow me here, it's geared around 2 to 3 deals a month, 2 to 3 deals a month, 2 to 3 deals a month. Well, as that great movie, the great line from the Kevin Costner movie, remember, build it and they will come.
Mhm.
If you want to grow to 5 or 6 deals a month, you've got to start structuring your methods of organizing and your systems for 5 to 6. Don't
Okay.
wait till you get there and watch the spokes fly off the tires. Okay. Serious, that's the way it works most of the time. Is you all of a sudden you have a great month and your systems get stretched so thin that you get in a state of overwhelm and stress, and you're like, oh my God, it's not worth it.
Mhm.
No, prepare for it. Prepare your systems, prepare your method of organization to go to that next level before you get there. Okay, what if, ask yourself, what if I did 6 deals in June, maybe another 6 deals in July? What if I did that? What would need to be different about the way that I've got myself organized and structured? Don't wait till it happens to get there. Do it in advance.
Okay.
Build it and they will come. And finally, last point I want to make to you guys, one of the things that you can do to take yourself to the next level is to buy time. Buy time. What do I mean? You know, some of you may still be mowing your own grass. And hopefully, if you are mowing your own grass, it's because you really, really enjoy mowing your yard. And if you do, I won't tell you to stop it. Keep doing it. If you enjoy doing it, keep doing it. But if you don't, hire it out. Some of you may not like to cook, but unfortunately, we still have to eat. You can hire people to cook for you. Like I said, I have 7 children. None of my children know life without a full-time housekeeper in the house. I have always had a full-time housekeeper as long as my kids have been on the planet. Part of having 7 kids. Lo and behold, I'm still married, so that's helped. But you know, buy time. If there are things that you enjoy, then don't delegate it. But if there are things that you don't, you want to know one of the best investments I've made? You guys are going to love this. One of the best investments I've made. I have 3, and Sydney knows this for a fact, I have 3 golden doodles. And one of them, Sissy, is laying at my feet right now. Okay, she comes to work with me every day. And these golden doodles poop all over my backyard. I got a beautiful pool, and it used to be that you can't get out and run in the grass because if you do, you know what's going to come up between your toes. I now hire a company once a week for $16 a week to come out and clean the poop out of my yard. Oh my God, what a great service. I don't have poop in my yard anymore. Hire stuff out. Hire stuff out. Buy time. If you can, you know, here Dean's worth $550 an hour, but if he's doing something that he can get done for $20 an hour, during that time, he's only worth $20 an hour. Buy time, guys. You'll improve your income, you'll improve your production while also improving your quality of life. So those are 10 ideas for you guys to consider, to ponder. What can I implement? What can I do to grow? What can I do to take my business to the next level? Give it some thought, pick 2 or 3, 4, whatever you decide, put them to work. And if I can do anything, or Steve or Sydney or Martin or any of us can do anything to help you guys further, we're here for you. Just because you're being coached by Sydney doesn't mean you can't call Steve. Just because you're being coached by Steve doesn't mean you can't call me, because that's how we work. We all work together. We're here for you. And I appreciate you guys being a part of Watson Powers Coaching, and have a fantastic day today. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Gordon.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gordon.